I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Insight into Chemical Engineering. In this lecture series, we will solve the unsolved problem of a famous book, Stoichiometry and Process Calculations by K.V. Narayanan. These lectures are helpful for chemical engineering students because it is a core subject for chemical engineering branch. So during lecture, step by step solution will be provided. In this lecture, exercise number 6.4 to 6.6 will be covered. For more info, please refer to my website www.chelearning.com. Please like and subscribe for motivation. Problem number 6.4. Nitrogen from a cylinder is bubbled through acetone at 1.1 bar and 3 to 3 Kelvin at a rate of 2 into 10 raised to power minus 4 meter cube per minute. The nitrogen saturated with acetone vapor lives at different pressure and temperature and at different volumetric flow rate. So what is the vapor pressure of acetone at 308 Kelvin? So first we will try to understand the problem by making its flow diagram. So we are starting with nitrogen. So assume that a cylinder is filled with nitrogen and this nitrogen has to be bubbled through this acetone. So in this container we have acetone. So when this gas will be bubbled through acetone, at the top it is coming out from the acetone. So here we have the pure nitrogen. When it will be bubbled in the acetone, so it will come along with acetone vapor. So at this end we have nitrogen as well as acetone vapor. Now as per problem, if we will measure the pressure of nitrogen before entering to acetone, which is given, that is 1.1 bar at 3 to 3 Kelvin, and the rate is also given. So we can write all these things. So before entering, the pressure of nitrogen is given at particular temperature and the flow rate is also given. Now suppose it is bubbled through the acetone, and when it will come out with the acetone vapors. So further, if we will measure the pressure, so this pressure will be due to nitrogen as well as acetone vapor. So here this P total will be due to nitrogen as well as acetone vapor. So that is also given. Nitrogen saturated with acetone vapor lives at 1.013 bar and at different temperature, that is 308, and at different flow rate. So we can write these values. So that is given. Now we have to find the vapor pressure of acetone at this particular temperature. So first thing is that we are starting with nitrogen at particular conditions. So first we have to find the total number of moles of N2 which are entering into the acetone. So once we have estimated the total moles of N2, so we can assume the operation of 1 minute because it is volumetric flow rate per minute, and we can assume that in 1 minute same number of moles of N2 will come out. So some amount of acetone will get converted into the vapor and it will come out along with N2. So we also have to find the amount of acetone vapor that will come out. So if we can estimate the mole fraction of acetone and mole fraction of nitrogen, then we can estimate the vapor pressure of acetone using Dalton's law. So we are assuming that basis equal to 1 minute operation. So first we will find out the number of moles of nitrogen entering into acetone. For that simply we can use the ideal gas equation. So we will write PV equal to nRT. So further we can write N number of moles of N2 equal to PV divided by RT. So here we have to convert 1.1 bar to Pascal and volume is given, gas constant is 8.314 and temperature is given. So we can estimate the moles of nitrogen entering into acetone. Now we have to find the total moles of nitrogen and acetone vapor leaving from acetone. So here the total pressure is given, temperature is given and volume is given. So again using ideal gas equation we can find the total moles of nitrogen plus acetone vapor. So we can put all values into the ideal gas equation and after solving we will get the moles of nitrogen plus acetone vapor at exit. Now we can estimate the moles of acetone vapor. So this is the total moles of nitrogen plus vapor. In this we can subtract the moles of N2 which are entering into the acetone per minute. So moles of acetone vapor equal to total moles at exit minus moles of N2 entered into acetone. So these are the moles of acetone vapor. Now we know the moles of acetone vapor at exit and we also know the total moles which are coming out at exit. So at this point, at exit point, we can apply the Dalton's law. So as per Dalton's law, the partial pressure of acetone vapor divided by total pressure equal to moles of acetone vapor divided by total moles. So total pressure is given, that is 1.013 bar and moles of acetone vapor pressure that we have estimated and total moles also we have estimated. So there is only one unknown, we can solve it. So we will put all values. After putting all values we can solve it for vapor pressure of acetone. So this will be the vapor pressure of acetone at 308 Kelvin. Problem number 6.5. Mercury has a density of 13.69 into 10 raised to power 3 kg per meter cube in the liquid state, and one more density is given in the solid state, both measured at melting point. That value is also given at 1 bar. If the heat of fusion of mercury is given, what is the melting point of mercury at different pressure? So here we have to find the melting point, and the volume is given when mercury is in liquid state and in solid state. So here the first question is that, can we use Clausius-Clapeyron equation, yes or no? Okay, so first we will write the Clausius-Clapeyron equation. So as per this equation, we need the vapor pressure P2, P1, and we need lambda. So here remember, this lambda is latent heat of vaporization, and there are certain assumptions behind this equation. So in this equation, when liquid is getting converted from liquid phase to vapor phase, and in vapor phase we assume that ideal gas law is valid, then only we can use this equation, or otherwise simply you can say that this lambda is latent heat of vaporization, and in the problem heat of fusion of mercury is given, and volume of mercury in liquid state and solid state is given. So volume is also not known in the vapor state. So we cannot use this equation. So we will use only Clapeyron equation. So Clapeyron equation is dP saturated divided by dt equal to lambda divided by T into delta V. So if we will made certain assumptions over this equation, then we can arrive at Clausius-Clapeyron equation. But here we want to use the original equation, that is Clapeyron equation. And here the value of lambda is joule per mole, and this delta V is molar volume. Please remember this thing. Now we will do some rearrangement. So after rearranging, we will get dP, because this dt will go towards the right hand side. So we can write dP saturated equal to lambda divided by delta V into dt by T. So further we can take the limits. So here we want to find the pressure from point 1 to 2, and here corresponding value or limits will be T1 to T2. So further we can write P2 minus P1 equal to lambda divided by delta V ln T2 by T1. Now in the problem, the melting point is given. So one temperature is given and one pressure is given. So we have to find the melting point at another pressure. So it means P2 is known 10 bar, P1 is known 1 bar, and T1 is known 234.33, and we have to find another T2, that is melting point of mercury at 10 bar. Further, this lambda is given, that is latent heat of fusion for mercury is given. Now we also have to estimate the change in molar volume. So in the problem, volume is given in liquid state and solid state. So that change we have to find. So first we have to estimate the molar volume. So in the problem, I think, okay, density is given. So density is given, we can use rho equal to mass per unit volume. So we can find the volume. So this will be our final equation. So here the density is given, that is kg per meter cube in liquid state and solid state. Now what we need molar volume. Means first we have to estimate the volume. So in order to find volume, mass should be known. So here mass is not given. So we can assume as a basis that we are starting with 1 kg of mercury. So basis is 1 kg mercury. Then we can use rho equal to mass per unit volume and volume equal to mass per unit rho. So in the problem, density of solid is given, so we can write volume of solid equal to mass of mercury divided by density of mercury. So we have assumed mass as 1 kg and rho solid is given, so we will get this value. So further we need to find the molar volume of solid. So we can write the molar volume of solid equal to volume of solid divided by mass. So here we will get this value. So this value is meter cube per kg. So why we have taken this in term of meter cube per kg? So if you will see the value of lambda, which is given joule per kg. So we have taken this value in meter cube per kg. Okay, so if it is given in joule per mole, then we would have taken it in term of meter cube per mole. Now we will write the volume of liquid equal to mass divided by rho liquid, and this will be the value of volume of liquid mercury. So further we will find the molar mass of liquid mercury. So we can write V liquid equal to volume of liquid divided by mass. Now in the previous equation we can put all values. So already T1 was given and this is the molar volume of liquid, so which is in meter cube per kg, and this is the molar volume of solid mercury, and this is the latent heat of fusion, and P2 and P1 are also given in the problem. So further solving we will get this equation. Now further we can solve this equation. So we will left with this unit. So here this kg will get cancelled. We will left with meter cube per joule pascal. And it should be unitless, because if you will see the unit of left hand side, that is ln T2 by temperature. So it also should be dimensional less. So simply you expand the units, like you can write the unit of Pascal, that is Newton per meter square, and you can write the unit of Joule. that is Newton into meter. So everything will get cancelled and it is unitless. So it means our equation is dimensionally consistent. We can solve it. So further we will solve it for T2, and this will be the value of ln T2. So we have to find T2. So finally T2 will come out as 234.38 Kelvin. So problem number 6.6. The vapor pressure of chloroform is given by Antoine equation. So this is the Antoine equation, ln P equal to some constant minus another constant divided by T minus another constant. So where pressure is in kilopascal, temperature is in Kelvin, determine the boiling point of chloroform at 50 kilopascal. So in part A we have to find the boiling point, means we have to find this temperature when the vapor pressure is given, that is 50 kilopascal. So this P is given, we have to find T. So in part A we will put all values into the above equation. So value of saturated pressure is given and only one unknown is there. We can solve it for T. So after solving we will get this equation. Further we will solve it for temperature. So we will get temperature equal to 314.49 Kelvin. Now in part B we have to find the vapor pressure at different temperature. So again we will put the value of temperature T, that is given 300 Kelvin, and this time we have to estimate the PS. So we will put all values into the above equation, and now we have this PS is unknown. So further we will solve it, and after simplification we will get ln P saturated equal to 3.334. So we can estimate the value of P saturated and it will come out as 28.06 kilopascal.